The Rising Knight is a Doki Doki Literature Club fan mod that is not affiliated with Team Salvato. Although this mod is an alternate take on the official game, it is still advised that you have completed the official game to avoid any potential spoilers. I should also warn you that this mod will contain some scenes and depictions of graphic violence. That being said, you can find the original game files for Doki Doki Literature Club at that place. By playing The Rising Knight, you have agreed to accept any graphical moments, as well as any spoilers to Doki Doki Literature Club contained within. I agree! Sup, it's Hallie, and welcome to The Rising Knight, mod developed by Spirit HOF. Hello there. Well, hi! So, I don't really know exactly quite what this mod is about, but apparently, as they said, it is an alternate take on the original game. I guess we'll see what it's like. I heard, I believe it was Fit Marshmallow who said he liked it, which suggests to me I'm probably not going to because my tastes are generally at odds with his, but, you know, we're gonna see what it's like. I take all requests for a reason, after all. What about the other one? What's his name? You mean me? My name? There. That's me. Once again, putting in both my names for the mod. This looks like the last house on the street. It's a ways down the road, but hopefully they've at least seen a thing or two. I approach the house, relieved to see the lights inside are on. With it being this late, I wouldn't want to be the one to wake anyone up. I take off my hat and step up onto the small porch. Dots, dots. The distinct smell of tobacco greets me as the door opens, instinctively causing me to clear my throat. Standing in front of me is an older-looking woman who seems a little irritated at my presence. Sorry to bother you this late in the night, ma'am, but I was wondering if you had the time to answer just a few quick questions.
I take it you're here because of what happened over at the neighbor's.
Right on the money, miss. What gave it away?
I don't know.
She checks over my right side while sarcastically rubbing her hand on the back of her neck.
Thinking about it now, it might just be because of all those bright siren lights down the street.
My apologies for all the ruckus. We'll be moving out soon enough, don't you worry. So, you all right with answering a couple of my questions?
Oh, right.
She turns back towards me, who I presume to be her husband. She turns back towards Guinea, before returning her attention to me.
Fine, I'll give up a minute or two.
Fantastic. I'll make this short and sweet for you, okay? I take a moment to clear my throat before proceeding. Where were you roughly 2 to 3 hours ago?
I've been here in the house since noon. I didn't even know something was happening until there was sirens outside. Well, actually, let me take that back. I went outside for a brief moment to take the trash out. That's about, less than an hour or so before I heard the sirens, maybe.
An hour, huh? If I remember correctly, that's just around the time they got the call. Did you perhaps notice anything by your neighbors that could have been suspicious or unusual? Like a vehicle, perhaps?
There was some van out the front, I guess.
This van, was it white?
I think so.
Did you see any graphics, wording, or anything else of note on the side?
Look, it had some logo or whatever on the side, but I didn't get a good look at it. For all I remember, it could just be some plumbing company's logo or something.
What about equipment? Was there anything outside?
No, not anything that I could remember.
We have 2 suspects who were already detained by the homeowner when the first responders arrived. Yet out of all of what they've supposedly said, there's been no specific mention of a van at all, not even from the homeowner himself. That's despite 2 additional neighbors claiming to have also seen a van near the time of the incident. It's entirely possible that this van was unrelated, and I'm overthinking all of this. However, it's also just as possible that another accomplice was involved. Alright, what about people? Did you see anyone in or around the van?
I didn't get to see the front of the van, so I don't know. There wasn't anyone suspiciously close to the house, if that's what you're asking for.
What about those you did see?
There were maybe a handful or so of people littered across the street, I guess. No one who looked out of place, really.
Okay. No suspicious bystanders, but also no equipment. The van's almost certainly out of the ordinary, but unfortunately there isn't enough information to link it to the crime just yet. Even so, a part of me remains skeptical of this whole situation. And I can't exactly put my finger on why. I'll have to talk to the homeowner one more time to see if she has anything else to say about it. Alright, last question and I'll be out of your way. You happen to know your neighbor well?
He, happens to live close to me.
That all?
Yep.
And is there anything else you can tell me about what happened?
Not any more than I've already said.
Alright, well, I don't want to take up any more of your time, so I'll be heading out now. If you find out anything else about what happened, don't hesitate to contact me or the PD. I was saying something, lady. You have a great rest of your evening now, ma'am. She shuts the door just as I finish up my last sentence. That being the last house on the street means it's just about time to wrap things up for the night. But before I can do so, I need to check back with the homeowner. I rest my hat atop my head and make my way back towards the scene. Hey, sir, find out anything new? I was going to ask you the same thing. Look, I didn't find out much more than you already knew. 2 guys picked the wrong night to trespass on the man's property, and they were both taken out as a result. Yeah. Are you sure it's just the 2? Of course. The homeowner himself confirmed that no one else was seen in the area. I seriously don't know what else you're looking for, sir. I look over towards the homeowner for a brief moment. On his left temple sits a relatively large bruise, or at least I think so. It's so dim out that if it weren't for the street light he's standing just under, I wouldn't have even ever noticed. I suppose it isn't that important of a detail anyways. Alright, well, I've got a couple questions for the homeowner. Hey, you haven't even told me about what you found out yet. Yeah, well, I gotta confirm a few things, or a few of the things, before I can determine if they're important. There's people getting cut off already. Oh yeah, gotta be. I make my way over to the homeowner, who's busy talking to one of the other officers. Hey, you don't mind me borrowing this guy for just a moment, do you? Not at all, sir. He's all yours. All officers sound the same. So... oh, wait, no, this is the guy talking now. So, what you need, officer? It's Lieutenant, but you're fine to just call me Hashimoto. I've never been one to follow such formalities anyways. If you say so. Anyways, I'm here to just pick some information out of you. If you don't mind. I don't mind at all, man, but what more can I even tell you that I haven't already? Yeah, well, by chance, was there anything else that happened today besides this incident? I went to work, and then I came home. Nothing else happened the rest of the day, or at least until those sons of bitches showed up. You sure you didn't have any company over? I haven't had any actual company in the past week, man. No maintenance in the house either? Nope, it's been all me. Uh-huh. Well, I asked around and a couple neighbors of yours mentioned a van that was parked nearby. You sure there's nothing to it? A van? Yes. White, maybe with some graphics on the side? No, man, I just so happened to look out my window right on time to spot them. When I checked, there wasn't a van in sight. Wait, I thought I heard you were out on the balcony when you spotted them. Balcony window. Glance over to the house, and there is indeed a window on the balcony. Although I won't question how he was able to spot 2 men in dark clothing from all the way up there. Right. Well, unless that van was parked further down the road, I'd be willing to bet that it was there for the neighbors across the street or something. There is a chance that the van coincidentally left just before this incident occurred. And as he said, it might have just been for his neighbors. I'd press further, but they weren't home last I checked. That, and we already have 2 of the main suspects detained anyways. Whatever, guess I'll admit defeat on this one. Alright, well, that's all of the questions I had for you. You're going to be fine for the night, right? Of course. Ugh. The man subconsciously rubs the side of his head right where I spotted that bruise earlier. Huh, guess I was right about something today. Oh yeah, that almost slipped by me. Where'd you get that big bruise from? It's nothing. I just slipped and hit my head on the counter earlier today. You sure? Looks pretty serious, even in this light. Like I said, don't you worry about me, Mr. Lieutenant. If more guys have the nerve to come into my house while I'm still here, I'll just tear them a new one. If you say so. I peek over towards the others, and I see the van of a news station setting up. Looks like you're gonna have some fun, huh? Talking to the reporter ain't so bad. Hell, I asked them for an interview myself. You certainly are something, that's for sure. Look, you have a good night now, alright? Same to you. With my questions answered, I make my way back over to my truck. Hey kid, nothing new out of those 2 yet? No, sir. I see. Then we're free to wrap things up now. Understood. About damn time. As I step into my vehicle, I overhear the reporter going live. I wonder why they couldn't at least wait until the morning for that. It's already well past midnight. Whatever, if they really wanted to be the first ones to tell the story, then who am I to judge? Statement question. Well, I'm not gonna stick around, that's for sure. This is Channel 25, and I am live at the scene of a recent break-in. This, along with several other recorded break-ins occurring within just the past few months alone, have rightfully caused growing concerns within our community. Homeowners are worried that their valuables are simply too unsafe and are expressing their discontent with the local PD. However, things for this homeowner turned out much different than even the police anticipated. Here I'm joined by Mr. Sakamoto, this city's most recent victim. Sir, how are you feeling on this fine evening? I'm doing great, thank you. Wonderful. Now, Mr. Sakamoto has an interesting story to tell about how he was able to protect his home against not just one, but two home invaders. It all started when I was lying on the couch reading a novel from one of my favorite authors of all time. You probably haven't heard of him, as he's not that well known yet. I was saying something, sir. Not me. I'm actually well versed in literature. I might know him. Anyways, you see, that's when I heard a noise coming from my front door. At first, I'm like, I wasn't expecting any packages today, but then it hits me. I never ordered anything. So now I'm all like, now who could possibly be at my door this late in the evening? I started walking towards the front door, but that's when the jiggling on the doorknob started getting harsher. And I ain't talking no Girl Scouts. I ain't talking no damn Jehovah's Witnesses. We are talking that Johnny guy from the Shining movie, man. So that's when I knew that there was people trying to get in my house. I took my phone and went to grab a knife, but all the dishes were dirty, so I had to grab a cutting board instead. The second I took that board off the counter, two guys I ain't met before opened my fucking door. Right as the taller dude took one step in my house, bam, right in his neck. I dropped his ass before he could even see me. The other dude, on the other hand, was scary. He had a knife and was charging straight for me. But even then, he made one big mistake. He didn't know that I'm actually a black belt in karate. In a flash, I grabbed his wrist and threw him over my shoulder, all John Wick style. After that, I took my cutting board and whack right to the head. That's when the tall dude tried standing back up. Now you see I wasn't about to let that happen. I grabbed the scary dude's knife and pinned the other dude to the wall while I tied the police. And just like that... I don't think that's how that went, man. The Rising Knight. Should I have used the word hardboiled voice for the detective? Whatever. Thoughts. One after another, the cars on the street roll by. I can't help staring down the road, watching as various cars turn onto our street, hoping for the bus to turn down this street instead of the others, even if it isn't scheduled to arrive for another few minutes. I'm not alone, though. I've spotted a few of the others waiting at the stop, just like myself, checking down the road occasionally. The rest sit on their phones, idly scrolling through them. A part of me wonders how their necks don't get strained from looking down so much. There are some days I wish I could better pass the time like they can. Not just now, but in general. It's always great when I get days like today off, or even have just a little amount of time at home. But I just never find myself actually doing anything. This time, as I catch the coin, I start rolling it across my knuckle, occasionally swapping which hand it's on. Geez, it's almost past the arrival time and there's still no sign of the bus yet. If it's anything like yesterday, it might take another 10 minutes before it comes. In that case, there's no telling how long it'll take to get to the other stops, let alone school. That would mean I'd be left with very little time to swap out my books and run to class. I suppose there's nothing I can do except hope that isn't the case. In the distance, I'm finally able to make out the shape of the bus behind a line of cars. It doesn't take much longer before it arrives at the stop. Quicker than last time, at least. I step on the bus and take a look around. The bus is more empty than I would have thought. Emptier. Works for me. I take an outer seat closer towards the front and wait as everyone else at the stop steps in. I turn on some music, and after a short while, the bus takes off. The bus eventually arrives at the school, dropping myself and a couple other students off. Despite the bus being a few minutes late, we made it to the school earlier than I anticipated. I can read. However, as I look towards the school, I notice a peculiar sight. Crowds of students all grouped up at different parts of the courtyard. From the looks of it, the school's various clubs seem to be advertising themselves to the students. As for why that's the case, I haven't the slightest idea. I was pondering. I pushed past any students in my way to reach the front entrance. Hey, would you be interested in joining our club? We would love to have you around. Some girl... Okay, that's totally wrong voices. Some girl blocks the path in front of me, attempting to hand me a flyer. I shift my body away to pass by, but she steps ahead of me. What is with this girl? Seriously, it would be nice if we could see her.
Come on, we'll have lots of food, okay?
She continues to go on and on, waving that flyer in front of my face until I eventually give in and snatch it out of her grasp.
Thank you. Please consider joining.
About time. Reaching the door, I'm pretty sure I overhear her say something towards one of the other stands. I'm unable to make out exactly what she says, but her tone suggested a hint of mockery. Nevertheless, with her out of the way, I step inside. Just on the right sits a trash can, of which I promptly crumple up and throw the flyer inside. What's going on here? This feels like such an odd day to be having a rush of club advertisements. After all, it's just a Wednesday. I would expect these types of events to be on Fridays. Or, you know, close to a holiday or something. Whatever. I don't keep up with school events, so it's likely that I'm the one missing something here. It's not my place of interest, after all. As I turn down the hall, I see more clumps of students. It doesn't take long to realize that it's more people handing out flyers. Are you kidding me? I swiftly pull out my phone and pretend to be busy in hopes that none of them attempt to bother me. Fortunately, this works and I'm able to slip right on by. I take my usual seat by the window and set my bag to the side. The teacher sits at her desk, typing away at the computer. It looks like class won't start for a while. What to do? Inside my bag sits my notebook, along with this class's textbook, which I grabbed from my locker earlier. I set both of them on my desk and take out a pen from the front of my bag. Afterwards, I loosely lay my arm along the chair's armrest and start mindlessly clicking away at my pen, my other arm holding my head up. My eyes drift across the room, latching onto anything that presents itself as even remotely interesting. Unfortunately, not even the posters and flyers on the walls keep my interest for any more than a moment's glance. A couple minutes go by, and by this point I've started balancing my chair on its two back legs whilst my own legs rest on the desk. Guess I got no other choice but to wait. I take whatever time I have to close my eyes and wait the teacher's orders. Which isn't much later, considering I hear my teacher address this class just seconds later. I pop out one earbud to listen to what she has to say.
And put your phones away, we are having a pop quiz in less than 15 minutes.
Pop quiz? Ugh, you would think it's a little too early in the day for something like that.
Hallie, get your feet off the desk, that's the second time I've had to tell you this month. And take out those earpods.
As instructed, I reluctantly remove my feet from on top of the desk and take out my earbuds. Stuffing the earbuds into their case, I decide it's best to cram in some study time. If this were any of my other classes, I doubt that I'd need to in the first place. But this isn't any other class. She expects half of the learning to come from home, which almost feels like a cheap excuse for her to do less work than she needs to. That's not mentioning whatever she teaches in class is practically irrelevant to whatever is likely to be on this quiz. I have roughly 15 minutes. If I want to make a passing grade, I need to use all the time I got. I take out my notebook and flip to the notes we took the last class. To save myself as much time as possible, I create a mental checklist of what notes to memorize. This should help me isolate what is and isn't important. Soon enough, the allotted time runs out and the teacher calls upon one of the other students to hand out the question sheets.
All right, class, put away your notebooks, folders, or whatever else might be out at this time. Once you get this sheet of paper, you'll have exactly 30 minutes to finish. Remember, please do not write on the question sheet. All answers must go on a spare piece of paper.
Thankfully, I was able to reach my last page of notes just before the teacher addressed the class. Before stuffing my notebook in my bag, I rip out a clean sheet of paper to use for the quiz. The student finally catches up with my desk and hands me the sheet with the questions. I write down my name and date before beginning the quiz.
That's all for today's class, and remember to read through pages 115 through 117 for homework tonight.
Ugh, these classes can seriously be a pain in the ass sometimes. I waste no time grabbing my bag and leaving the room.